We're back from Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, talking all things Mountain West football here today. We've heard from a couple of the head coaches already here this morning, and now we are joined by national writer for The Athletic, Chris Vannini. Chris, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for making the time for us today.
Good to be here. Great setup you guys have. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, alongside Jesse Kurtz, I'm Bridget Howard. Chris, Mountain West football, there's a lot of excitement around it this year. A lot of great quarterbacks in this league, a lot of great teams, a lot of new faces at the head coaching position. From your viewpoint, what is the most exciting part of the Mountain West this year?
I think you have to start with those quarterbacks. Like you said, Schrager at Hawaii, Mikey Keene at Fresno State. Colorado State's got a young, great quarterback coming back. So this is a league that has a lot of talent in it. And in a sport where we've seen so much quarterback transfers, even a little bit within this league has been boosted by being able to hold on to some of those really good quarterbacks, and it's going to make for some fun football come fall.
In 3 of the last 4 years, there have been some dark horses in the Mountain West championship game at the end of the season. There's a lot of parity in this conference. Is there a team that you'd say right now that maybe is your dark horse that you think is going to surprise some people this year?
I mean, last year, look at UNLV. Who could have imagined that was their best season in 30 years or something like that? Yeah, unbelievable year. I'm very curious about Colorado State this year. They bring back a lot of talent. The quarterback, like I just mentioned, wide receiver as well. They've steadily improved under Jay Norvell each year. This feels like the year that maybe they take that jump, and if they can get the consistent play on defense where they need to be better, that could be a team that is maybe a dark horse to make the conference championship game.
Yeah, holding on to Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, the quarterback there, obviously was paramount for Jay Norvell, and having a wide receiver like Torrey Horton will go a long way as well. In that respect, and in modern day college athletics, guys coming and going, the transfer portal, you mentioned that the league has done a really good job of retaining high level players. I think 90% of the players that were first team all league that had eligibility come back came back. How in this day and age do Mountain West teams or teams at that level retain players? Like, what have you seen best practices of the way that you are retaining those players and they don't go to, an ACC team, an SEC team, Big Ten?
Well, every kid's different. I mean, everybody has different situations. I mean, Ashton Genty has talked about, a lot of teams came after him to try to transfer from Boise State while there was a coaching change going on potentially. And he had a lot of money put forward to, hey, like, this is a possibility, but he didn't want to leave his teammates. He didn't want to say bye to that. And he has some NIL deals locally. So it's largely, when you talk to group of 5 schools that have been able to hold on to kids, it comes down to putting them in the best position to get them to the NFL, if that's what they want to do, having a good relationship with them as a player with their teammates, and having some NIL money around through collectives or locally to keep. A kid wants to feel valued. He doesn't have to be a millionaire, but if he feels like he's being taken care of enough by his local community, that has proven to be a good tool to keep kids from transferring and what they feel like is best for them.
Yeah, and Ashton Genty's in a wonderful spot, obviously, at Boise State. Will be a featured back as a coach that cares about him. Heard a thing about Ricky White yesterday, about Ricky White saying he stuck around for all those reasons, valued. You get to play in Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, Barry Odom, but he wanted to graduate. I mean, we don't hear that too often nationally anymore, because these kids do have a chance to make money, but the college education is valued in the Mountain West. And to hear one of our student athletes say that was important to him certainly resonated with me and with our commissioner. College football playoff has expanded this year, and our former commissioner, Craig Thompson, lobbied for that hard. He was a part of that committee that really angled towards this. Now that we got this, what does it mean for college football as a whole? Our commissioner, Gloria Navarro, is very happy with having at least a path to that playoff. How different and exciting will this be this year that now 12 teams get into that final pool that have a shot to play for a national championship?
Well, it's a celebration for everybody. I mean, this is really the first time in college football history you could say every team has a chance to play for the national championship. That has never happened before. That is exciting. So while we've had all this realignment, all these different things happening within college sports, the playoff going to 12 teams is something I think everybody will be excited about. When we get to November, you've got 30, 40, 50 teams that are still in the mix. You're going to have more bigger games as we get late into the season. When that first group of 5 team gets in, it's going to be really exciting. And 1 year, 2 years, they're going to pull off that upset of somebody at some point. Somebody's going to go on a run. They'll become a Cinderella to the country. And so I think everybody, when we get to December, that first time we have that, I don't think people realize how big this is going to be. The home sites for the first round is going to be incredible. That's going to be so much fun. And I think it's really going to give a reason to celebrate college football in December. We kind of go quiet. You have the conference championship games, and then the playoff doesn't start for another month, essentially. And we have bowl games and all that is fun, but we kind of get into a lull. Now we're going to go into December, and every other week you've got playoff games happening. That's going to be a lot of fun.
When you look at a team like the Boise State Broncos, what makes the Broncos so intriguing when it comes to this new access in terms of their schedule, their talent? What makes them so intriguing?
Well, look, they were the original bracket busters of college football, so to speak, going back when they beat Oklahoma and games against Virginia Tech and Georgia. That created that belief for a lot of other schools that they could do that. So Boise State was also the first team to get into the New Year's Six in the 4-team playoff era. So they've kind of been the face of what is possible at the group of 5 level and what you can do. They won that Fiesta Bowl against Arizona a decade ago at this point. And obviously, Ashton Jeanty is one of the best running backs in the country. NFL people are starting to take notice of him. Defense is really good. If they can get the quarterback play that they hope they can, that's a team that's going to be right there. The schedule is going to be interesting because you've got to compete with all the other group of 5 conferences now. It's not just win your conference. It's what do the other conference champions do. So in the group of 5, you're going to be paying attention to what's going on in the American, what's going on in Conference USA. What is Liberty doing? What is Memphis doing? That's going to matter to everybody now. So it's going to create even more reason to just watch more college football.
That and the non-conference schedule, just seeing who they're playing, the talent, how they're doing against it. I mean, it's going to make, I think, the season as a whole that much more intriguing from start to finish.
Yeah, that Oregon game early in the season is going to be a big one. I mean, Boise State, they held firm with Washington for a half last year. They were in that game for a while before things kind of fell apart at the end. And so if they can stick close with Oregon there, that will get them into that kind of that pole position as we head into the conference play.
Last question before we turn you loose here, and we appreciate the time. The strength of schedule overall, and that includes the conference schedule. How valued will that be? Not to roll on any team, but Liberty last year didn't have the toughest of schedules, and they got into a New Year's Six and got rolled and got criticized for it, rightly or wrongly. The strength of schedule, non-conference and then in conference, that entire resume, because of what happened last year, how much will that be valued and how much importance will we put on that when they are getting ready to select those 12 teams after they have the AQs?
I mean, that's the big question. We don't know, and we don't know how the way last year went will play into things.
Sure.
Because Liberty, they were undefeated in that spot, and that game was not close. The American, Mike Oresco, the commissioner, very open about not SMU. They were not happy that they did not get that spot. Now, SMU obviously lost its bowl game as well, but Liberty again this year, very good team. Not a very difficult schedule. And so those are the things the committee is going to have to weigh in a way that they've never really had to before, because even more is on the line. And it's not just the group of 5. It's not just the top 4. It's who's going to be what is the order of the conference champions? Who's going to get that 5 versus 6? Who's going to get the home game? Who's going to be 9 versus 8, the last home game spot? Who's going to be the last team in? There's a lot more on the committee this year than ever before that they've never really had to deal with. Florida State, Alabama was a unique situation that's not going to happen before. But there are so many more debates they're going to have to defend this time. And when it comes to the group of 5, that strength of schedule is going to be paramount. And we don't know how they're going to handle it and if last year is going to influence what decisions they make this year.
A little bit later today, we're going to get a chance to talk to General Richard Clark, who now is leading the college football playoff down in Dallas. So we'll get his thoughts on what might be valued and see the direction that they'll head under his direction now, taking over that great organization. Chris, we appreciate the time, the insight. Thank you so much for being here at Mountain West Media Days. It means a lot to us, and it also means a lot that you stopped by our set here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's Chris Vanini of The Athletic. Make sure you read his stuff online.
All right. Well, still lots more to come here